Hi, welcome to the news episode of Sports Talk Central. I'm your host, Deep Mahmood, with my normal co-host Hunter. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the breaking news about DeAndre Hopkins signing a deal with the Tennessee Titans, some recapping the MLB Draft, and talking about the MLB Trade Deadline. So, what was your first reaction when you saw Hopkins to the Titans?
I know what yours was, and you texted it to me right
Yeah,
away. But so 2-year deal, 26 million. These weird birds are just having a weird mating call up in the trees for some reason. 2 years, 26 million, could be 32 million in incentives. This is interesting to me. Honestly, I thought he would go to the Patriots. I thought the Bill Belichick factor would win out, but he decided to go to the Music City in Nashville. It's curious because their quarterback situation is a bit weird, right? You don't really
right.
know who's gonna. Do we really know who the starter is gonna be?
We don't know who the backup is. We don't know
No.
who's the backup, right?
It's interesting that he would go there and not to New England. And I know Mac Jones is not anything to write home about right now, but at least that's more of a stable environment, I think, for Hopkins. Maybe he was a bit spooked, I think, of the Bill O'Brien situation because he was there with him in Houston. But I don't know. I mean, I like DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's a very good wide receiver. I just don't know how much of an impact he's going to have in a Titans offense that caters to Derrick Henry. That's my thing. Henry, you know what you're going to get from Henry. He's going to try to run for 1,500 plus yards. It's a ground and pound offense. You know, Hopkins will be your number one guy, but is he going to get 1,000 yards, 1,100, 1,200 yards? He also has the injury concerns. I don't know. It definitely gives their offense a bit of a boost, but I just don't know how often he's going to get the ball because their quarterback situation is in such a disarray right now. That's my thing. So that's really what I have to say about it. What were your thoughts when you first saw the move?
There are a few things. First one, going back to the text I sent you, I said Julio Jones 2.0 because if people remember right, remember a couple years ago Julio Jones signed with the Titans and people said, "Oh, that's a great deal," and then what happened? That didn't really work out so
He
well.
stunk and got hurt.
Yeah. Well, you want to go one step further. Remember, they got Robert Woods. I want to say 2 years ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago. What happened there? Didn't work. So you have what
Should have
is
just kept AJ Brown. Oh wait,
Oh no, I'm
wait.
gonna get to that point. I'm gonna get to that point.
Go ahead. Go
But
ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
32. But now you're doing another 30-ish-year-old receiver in Hopkins, and you're saying the third time it'll work. I don't know. And keep in mind, this was Henry a couple years ago. This was Henry a year ago. Running backs don't age well, and especially with someone as the use of Derrick Henry. I know he is a unicorn when it comes to running backs. That being said, you are talking about a Derrick Henry that is older, and this is the same such a team that there were those rumors about Derrick Henry trade talks as well. So we're like, and then Ryan Tannehill a couple years ago was in a more stable situation than Ryan Tannehill, Will Levis, Malik Willis, whoever else is there. So the quarterback situation is unstable. It's a new front office. Maybe there's some stability there. I mean, still, I know they got that tight end from University of Maryland, Chick something. So Traylon Burks, I know was an option. Maybe there's something there. To me, this is more of a he's putting himself in the best possible situation to go and get one big contract because if he's going to the Titans and it was between the Titans and or the Patriots, it means the Ravens didn't value him at 13 million a year to be a third or fourth receiver. Buffalo, same thing. Kansas City, same thing. And Eagles, same thing, right? Yeah, because I would imagine those four teams would have could have considered him as another option, but they were saying we're cool with this. So part of it is also how much does he have left in the tank. So obviously him going to a weaker team that isn't a top contender, but maybe if a few things break their way, could work. I think it's if you remember Hunter, if you remember the quote he had, it's like I'll retire once I stop being 1,000-yard receiver. Maybe
Yes,
he's
I
gonna
do
get the
remember that.
volume. Maybe he's gonna get the volume. Like he absolutely will get the volume of targets that will put him in position. He's also gonna set himself up to be double teamed. So like you still got Henry, you still got Hopkins, if Henry starts to slow down a little bit, expect the double teams to come up on Hopkins. So it's gonna be really interesting what they do there. And the other thing that's weird is you didn't pay how old is AJ Brown? 24, 25?
I could double check this real quick. He's 26 right now.
26. Okay. So, and he signed, I believe
at the time he was 24, 25.
Okay. So he signed for what, 25 million a year roughly with the Eagles? So 25 years old. 25 million a year, 4 years, $100 million. I forgot how much was guaranteed. You're not going to pay AJ Brown that much, and you saw what he did with the Eagles. But you're going to pay a 30-year-old DeAndre Hopkins, as good as he may be, $13 million a year, when all you have to do is fork over the other $12 million, knowing that Ryan Tannehill's contract, Ryan Tannehill was not going to be there long term. That means you're now going from Ryan Tannehill's contract, depending on the amount of guaranteed money left, to a rookie quarterback. That means now with the rookie now you're paying a rookie salary for a quarterback. I think that would more than make up for that $12 million. Don't you think?
I would think so. I mean, again, like they probably should have just kept AJ Brown. I don't really know why they decided to trade him in the first place. After what we just saw, with what he did with the Eagles, and they didn't even get that much value for him. That was the thing. I just don't.
Treylon Burks,
I don't understand that.
I mean, what were your thoughts on Treylon Burks last season as a draft prospect?
Fine. Like I don't think he's going to be like a top 5 to 10 receiver in the league, but I thought he was good. I mean, he'll be a good option behind Hopkins. I think he's going to get easier options or easier matchups, because Hopkins is going to get every team's top corner or two, maybe some safety help, and then Burks will get the lesser corners. So I think in that way, the Hopkins signing makes sense. But if he's your number one guy and he's 30 plus years old and has a lot of injury history, I don't know, man. It just seems like a bit of a risk for a team that I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender right now. I don't think anyone does.
Let me ask you a question on this one. So Hopkins, $13 million a year. Let's say Dalvin Cook, $12-13 million a year. You had to pick one of those two if you were the new GM of the Titans. Which one would, like in your opinion, what would have been the better fit? Like, not even if you're the GM of the Titans, but what would have been the better fit? Dalvin Cook at around 10-12 million a year, or Hopkins at 13 million?
I'd go Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I would say that just because even though you have Derrick Henry as your top running back option, having Cook right with him would be pretty fun. I mean, he can also run the ball and he can pass catch very efficiently. You can honestly use
both on the field at the same time. Like you could in theory have both on the field at the same time and still play off the tight ends. And this move was just really odd in my opinion. And we'll see what they do there. Next topic is the MLB Draft. Number 1 overall pick was Paul Skeens from LSU. Number 2 overall.
The Pirates did not screw it up, Adit. They did not screw it up.
Yeah. But I'll get to your thoughts on Dylan Cruz to the Nationals. The Orioles went out and drafted Enrique Bradfield Jr., who is from what I read about him. Imagine Cedric Mullins with his approach, better contact. Like he walked more than he struck out. He played in the SEC. Vanderbilt's a good school, but with Trey Turner speed and Trey Turner quality level defense, and he can play center field. That's kind of what he is. He's kind of like a speedster who has good contact. But I think I saw someone bring up Jackie Bradley Jr. Remember him from the Red Sox and then Brewers? Kind of like a Jackie Bradley Jr. type player. So I do like him there, but let's talk about Dylan Cruz. What were your thoughts, and how do you think he'll fit with this team?
I'm so happy, man. I mean, he automatically becomes their top prospect in the system. There could be a time where the Nationals have him in their lineup with Robert Hassel, CJ Abrams. I'm forgetting the other top guy right now. Brady House, I think.
There's a guy named James Woods who's
he's awesome. I had Brady House, I believe, is in there as well, Adit. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
So there's going to be a time where all those guys I think are going to be in the lineup, and I think that's going to be hopefully when the Nationals are back contending, and not just for a division title, but for potentially a championship. I would have been fine with Skeens or Cruz. I preferred Cruz because he's the best bat in this class, and I think he's going to be one heck of a Major League Baseball player. But I'm over the moon. I'm glad that the Nationals got it right after Skeens went to the Pirates. I think if the Pirates had gone with someone else other than those two, I honestly think the Nationals maybe would have went with Skeens just because he's an ace, and the Nationals don't really have, an ace like that in their system. But right now, their farm system is a lot better than where it was just a few years ago. Cruz, I think he could be ready within a year or two. I don't think that's that much of a hot take. I think not this season, obviously, but maybe halfway through next season, maybe towards the end of next season, he could be ready to play. Is that fair, Dude? I would say that.
Yeah, it's fair, especially if Lane Thomas is what his future, whatever his future looks like. So, yeah, they can find a spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think within a year and a half, 2 years, he'll be up here on an everyday basis. I'm really excited about him playing in the system. I think he's going to start with Double-A for the rest of the season, and then if he does well there, maybe he'll go up to Triple-A next season. He'll do some Double-A, probably a lot of Triple-A as well before getting called up to the big leagues. But I'm excited. I think for the first time in quite a while, I'm optimistic about the future of the team. And as I said, there's going to be a time where I think you have, Woods, Hassel, Abrams, House, and Dylan Cruz all in the same lineup with maybe Lane Thomas or Joey Meneses. That's a pretty decent lineup. I mean, I think that's a lineup that if all of those guys pan out, that can do some damage to a lot of teams, maybe 2-3 years down the line. So I'm really excited about it. That was a really good day for the Nationals organization.
Yeah, as for the Orioles, I already talked a little bit about Enrique Bradfield Jr., Mac Horvis, their second round pick. He had a 20-20-20 season, at least 20 home runs, at least 20 doubles, at least 20 stolen bases. Can play third, can play outfield, so I like that pick. Jake Cunningham is an interesting guy as well. They did something interesting. They drafted a ton of pitchers, so a lot of high quality pitchers. That's good to see what the Orioles are doing. That's mainly more on the draft. I mean, the Orioles picking 17s. It was definitely odd. I had to wait an hour or so before them picking versus waiting in for 20 minutes within 20 minutes. That's going to be odd, but it's a pleasant surprise. It's a nice thing to have to wait that long for the pick. Some of the picks were good as well. I will say this: there was another moment during the draft weekend, the All-Star weekend. I'm going to put this in there as well. So the Orioles went ahead and so they were playing Seattle, and obviously we're talking about Felix Bautista, the ginormous closer for the Orioles. So he dominated the Mariners, and the Orioles, who have called him the Mountain all the time, called him King Felix because they were playing the Mariners. His name is Felix Bautista, and he dominated. Well, I did not realize how many Mariners fans are soft. Because they were saying only one person can be called Felix Bautista. And how dare you call him King Felix? Like, how dare you call him, we call him the Mountain. We don't call him King Felix. We forgot about it. Honestly, we forgot about the King Felix thing until you brought it up. And I saw a lot of Orioles fans bring up, well, now I want to call him King Felix because I know it makes you guys upset. So here's what happened. Not during Felix Bautista's media. This was not during the media session where the guys are doing the interviews. What happened was a Seattle radio host somehow got access to the field, went to Felix Bautista, and by the way, English is not his first language, and then basically asked him and did not confirm whether Felix knew about the King Felix thing, and then went and asked him, said, and basically, what were your thoughts on it? Felix, and he was leading him on, you know how you're leading, you know how you could tell when someone's leading on to a certain response. That's what he was doing, and then he turns around. That's fine if you just stop there. And then he turns around and turns around and say, Orioles, stop that garbage. Don't call him King Felix. Okay, whatever. First of all, I thought that was a bit douchey by the reporter. You can probably find this video online. It is douchey because one, the guy's first language was not. This was not a media session. He was just playing catch. Two, you did not You did not set up the interview really well. You just wanted gotcha journalism. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's just sad what journalism has gone into. The fact that this guy was able to do what he was able to do. No, but and yeah, you're going to see Orioles. I feel you're going to see the Orioles fans call Felix Bautista King Felix now because Mariners fans are soft. Now, we're going to talk about the MLB trade deadline as well, just to end the show. It's a bit of a shorter episode. Obviously, the big thing is Shohei Ohtani. But before that, do you think who do you think could be guys on the move, like Cody Bellinger, Marcus Stroman, Dylan Cease, Scherzer, anyone?
I think all those you mentioned. I honestly am curious to see what the Mets do. Just with Scherzer with the no trade clause. Does Justin Verlander get moved? That's going to be interesting as well. Bellinger, I could see that. You're not really hearing like a lot of smoke about the trade deadline this upcoming season, or for this season, excuse me, even though it's in 2 weeks. It's
kind of weird. What about Giolito? Do you think because he's a rental, do you think he can get moved?
I mean, someone would probably give up like a mid-tier prospect for him or something like that. The Ohtani thing is so weird. I really don't see him being moved. I mean, unless a team is just giving up their entire farm system for him, I really don't see that happening. I know the Angels they're the Angels. Let's just say that. But I don't see him getting moved, honestly. You said Bellinger, Scherzer, Verlander, I said. I do think from the Pirates perspective, David Bednar, I think he gets moved just because the Pirates are not playing well right now. I believe they're now 21-44 since their 20-8 start to the season. Just regression to the mean right there. And he's one of the best closers in baseball. They can get a haul for him if they wanted to. He's an ERA below 1.5, good strikeout to walk ratio, great fastball. Honestly, all of his pitches are great. We'll be curious to see about that. Washington wise, I'm not really sure who they're going to move there, to be honest. I mean, I don't think they're going to move Lane Thomas or Joey Meneses or anything like that. Maybe a couple of guys in their bullpen, but I don't really see too many moves to be made there. They made their moves last year when they got a lot of picks and when they got a lot of prospects and some other players back. But I don't know. It feels like this trade deadline is going to be a little more quieter than some of the other ones, if I'm reading it right.
Yeah, and I agree. I think part of it is going to be the Ohtani thing. I think that part of it, when you think about it, Trout's hurt, so that's going to be one thing you got to consider. Rendon's always hurt. The Angels aren't really competing. And if it wasn't clear now, if it wasn't clear then, it's clear now. Ohtani's not going to re-sign with the Angels, and the Angels are probably looking at a pick somewhere between 70 and 80. So maybe they are considering moving Ohtani because the alternative is letting him go for a comp pick. Would you rather get what you can get for him, knowing that he's not going to sign with you guys, or go get a comp pick? That's where it gets interesting. Now, as for developing a market for him, it's tricky because a lot of people, I think I've seen someone point out the Luis Castillo trade where but I think it's more of the Manny Machado situation where Machado was clearly not going to sign with the Orioles. We don't know how much money he was going to sign for in the offseason. So the market really wasn't there for him. And I wonder if part of it's the same thing. Obviously, you have the Dodgers. I get sick and tired of seeing these people on ESPN saying the Yankees are in forever, like on everyone. It's like, no,
just like for Bryce Harper and who was the other one that everyone was making jokes about? Bryce Harper and Juan Soto. Everyone was making jokes about Juan Soto to the Yankees. It was making jokes about just literally any big time player.
Nolan Arenado, I could see going to the Yankees potentially.
Okay.
Nolan Arenado.
The Cardinals. I don't know really what they're going to do, to be honest.
No, I think they're going. I think you have Jack Flaherty and Jordan Montgomery as two starters who are rentals. One or both of them could get moved. Jordan Hicks, the flame-throwing reliever, he could get moved as well. I don't think they'll move Arenado. I think Goldschmidt, I keep hearing his name being in rumors. I can't imagine they would want to move on from Paul Goldschmidt. I think the Cardinals for me, I think it's a rental. I think the guys who are rentals are the guys that are going to get moved. The Tigers are really interesting. Scott Foley, one of the relievers, he could potentially get moved. Alex Lang, their closer, is interesting. Eduardo Rodriguez is an interesting name, but he also has an opt out. So that's where it gets tricky there. As for the teams that could buy, I mean, the Reds are going to be really interesting to see if they're going to be able to. They should. Yeah. The Orioles are an interesting position because I know everyone
wants. You actually buy too.
Yeah, I think they're going to buy. I think they are going to buy. I think part of it is also, are they going to go big fish? Are they going to go big spending with the? Because I'm pretty sure the Angels do want to talk to the Orioles about Ohtani because of the farm system, but the Orioles are not going to go and give up Jackson Holiday. They're not going to give up their prospects for a rental for Ohtani. And whether the West Coast, the rumors of him wanting to be on the West Coast are true, that's where it gets tricky. And so I'm not going to get my hopes up for him. I would be excited, but I would have to see the cost. Like I said, I'm not giving up Jackson Holiday for Shohei Ohtani. I think Jackson Holiday, he's 19 years old and he is dominating at least for 2-3 games at Double-A. This guy is going to be in the majors before he's legally able to buy a drink. That's how good this guy could be. I like the idea of going with the Cardinals. Trading with the Cardinals. I like the idea of Jordan Montgomery and Jordan Hicks for the Orioles because Montgomery gives you that lefty starter. He was with the Yankees, so he has that experience. And Jordan Hicks, I mean, you think Cano and Bautista are a tough 8-9 combo? Jordan Hicks and his 104 mile per hour fastball with Cano and Bautista, good luck. Good luck with that trio at the end. Because if their starters are just good enough to get you into games, and you could have Hicks, Cano, Bautista, and then have 2 or 3 other relievers, that's going to be, and we've seen how in the bullpen, how bullpens take advantage. Teams with better bullpens can dominate the postseason. Like it truly does become a bullpen game. So if you can do that, even if it's for a rental, I think it's a good move. I think that's a move they should make. But look, if we find out Ohtani to Baltimore, I'm going to be thrilled.
All right, that's enough out of you. Enough with the hopium over here.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I think the double Jordans from the Cardinals is what I want. Montgomery and Hicks. Kyle Hendricks is interesting because Kyle Hendricks has the connection with Brandon Hyde, and he's really smart. And he would kind of be the next. He would kind of basically be a guy that they would try to sign in free agency. I like that guy. I like that team right there. What do you think about the Padres? What do you think they're going to do?
I think they're going to stand pat. I don't see them selling, but like, why should they buy?
I don't see them selling. I don't see them going for another.
If they buy it, it'll be like a little buy, maybe like a relief pitcher or something like that, or maybe like a new bench hitter. But they've already made their big moves. They've made their bet, and they're not living up to expectations. You can't go out and have a big buy when you're having this kind of season, and you can't sell. Like, who are you going to sell? Like, that's my thing. Your lineup is so loaded. So I personally think they're probably just going to stand pat. And if they do something, I lean towards the buy side, but it's something like really small.
Yeah, I mean, when we had Ryan Ripken on the show a couple weeks ago, I talked to him. I talked about the idea of Blake Snell. I don't think they're not going to move Blake Snell. Josh Hader's an interesting possibility, but I don't think they're going to move on from Josh Hader. But Padres have made big trades last few trade deadlines. Soto last season, Hader, Clevenger, they've done a lot. This is not there. I don't think they're going to do anything here, and maybe they trade for a reliever. Maybe they trade for a reliever. Obviously the big trade. They really hasn't been any big trades now. We didn't talk about it with Ryan, but what was your reaction with the whole Rangers trading for Chapman?
I saw him pitch against the Nationals last week when I went to Nats Park for the first time in a few years, and everything aside, he actually looked pretty decent. So, I mean, he still has some stuff left in the tank. The Rangers, they're going for it this year, obviously, Edie. I mean, they're one of the best teams in baseball, and they have a really good lineup. So I'm honestly not too surprised that they traded for him. But still, definitely interesting, I think, to say the least. What do you think of it?
I thought they definitely needed the help. I can't imagine that look, is it gonna make them World Series contenders? I think they need more than that, but let's just see what happens. And I'm just going to present let me see if I can present this. But no, the standards, also the standings are interesting now as well, with the Diamondbacks actually not being in first place anymore. It's now the Dodgers, so we're starting to see that being normalized. Then you have then you got what was it? The Orioles are now 2 games behind Tampa right now.
That's a close race. I know a couple of Rays fans, Indeed, who are nervous about the Orioles coming up behind them. But I think the Rays are also really banged up right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to change pretty soon.
I mean, yeah, it's a big weekend for Tyler Glass now. I mean, he's big week. I mean, he's got Start, and then he's got a movie coming out. So, so I mean, first of all, it is weird how much he looks like Cillian Murphy. It is longer
very
hair.
Strange.
It's longer hair, and he's probably a foot taller, foot and a half taller.
Very strange. That's what it is.
Yeah. I'll be really curious to see if Glasnow is actually starting on the day that Oppenheimer premieres. So it'll be pretty interesting to see what they do there. But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. The races are gonna be interesting next week. We're gonna be coming back in 2 weeks. Hopefully there's some trades to talk about. Then we're gonna be talking about some MLB, NFL training camp as well. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yep. See you all then.